To this computer. All right, here we are. Welcome, everybody. If you are here with me, thank you. And if you're watching the recording, I'm glad that you've set aside time to check this out. This is this current edition of How to Grow Your Baby's Brain During Every Diaper Change. And my name is Alan Miller. I am currently a parenting coach, and I worked for 10 years as an early childhood teacher. And my favorite years were the ones in toddler classrooms. A lot of my coworkers didn't love how much time I spent changing diapers. I was very slow and I didn't care. And that is what we're going to talk about today. Why lingering and taking time and paying attention and being intentional during those diaper changes can be really beneficial in the long term to your baby. So that's a little bit about me. Oh my gosh, but time does fly. I do have two babies of my own. They are now 12 and 9 years old. So it has been quite a while since I was changing diapers on the regular, but we do have family friends, and I always volunteer to watch the kids and change the diapers if they're hanging out with us for a long time. So not a regular everyday experience, but still something I look forward to if there's an opportunity. So, one thing I always like to do when I invite people to gather so that you can learn something and take in some new information is first to just let your whole system settle. And I completely understand if you're watching the recording, like don't stop what you're doing if you are in the middle of putting laundry away or cleaning up after a meal or walking with the stroller. Continue. And if you did set aside time to focus entirely on this, I will invite you to really let yourself be in this moment. And we're going to do a very short practice called orienting. And I'll just guide you through it. It'll take about 2 minutes. And this is just to help your system downshift into being fully present in this moment. So you get to keep your eyes open and find any object in your environment. It could be something
Mm,
in the room in front of you, or it could be something outside if you can see a window. Just find one object. And as you gaze at the object, notice more of the details. Maybe first you notice the color or the shape. As you continue looking at this object, notice if it reflects light, if there are any shiny parts, or if there's a shadow and you can see the shape through its shadow. Also, notice how much space does this object take up? How does it position itself in other things around it? Does it have any movement? What sort of shapes can you notice in this object, or what shape is the whole object? Notice the materials, the texture, just more and more details of this one object, more than you've ever noticed before. And as you're putting your visual attention on this object, also notice if your mind is staying busy, if you're thinking about other things, if you're thinking about something related to this object, and just lovingly let those thoughts drift away like a balloon and come back to noticing the object itself. It's just an object. And that's it. That's the practice of orienting. You can let your gaze come back to the screen. And if that felt really boring, congratulations, that is success. The idea is to let your whole system slow down a little bit, take a little bit of a break, and realize that it doesn't have to stay active and busy every single moment. So that's a practice you can take with you anywhere, and I really encourage you to try it out, especially in transitions, just before you get started with something or just as you're wrapping up something. Give yourself 10 seconds to orient and notice how that little downshift can help you out. So, um, I want to share a little bit about why I even love talking about diaper changing in the context of brain development. Like, how does a diaper and a brain fit together in the same conversation? Well, be ready to be surprised. But I realize talking about this daily routine is really important for a lot of reasons. One, it's happening all the time. I would love to know if anybody has like calculated how much time a parent or caregiver spends changing diapers for a child in the child's lifetime. I'm sure it's a lot. I'm sure it's astounding. It might even be more than sleeping on some days, depending on what stage they're in. So it's something that's happening a lot. So let's pay attention to it because anything that's happening a lot in our life is going to impact us. So let's pay attention to what's happening there so that we can create more positive impact if possible. Also, if you think like, oh, this is going to be really strange, bear with me. Imagine today that you're wearing a diaper and that some other person is going to come approach you and deal with whatever's in the diaper. What an awful thought. Like, no, 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 no. We don't want somebody else coming into us, seeing our most vulnerable parts of our body, most sensitive parts of our body, and doing things to us in any way, shape, or form. Like, what? So here's the thing. Whatever sort of reaction that turns on, if you imagine being an adult and having someone else come change your diaper, a baby's experience is no less dignified. So, whatever you would hope for and expect and want in somebody else caring for your body today, your baby deserves the same level of dignity and care and patience and attunement. We don't get to let ourselves off the hook just because they're babies, just because they're little, just because this has to happen, just because they're not going to remember this. They are humans. They are vulnerable. They are dependent on us, and they deserve the dignity of being treated carefully and with care in this really intimate moment. If you've got a naked human being in front of you, that is vulnerability. And so that means their system is even more receptive and responsive to what's happening in that interaction because they are so vulnerable. So, I think it's pretty important to pay attention to how we're treating our babies when we're changing their diapers. And when it comes to changing diapers, I know that there are some teachers and caregivers that are going to be watching and listening to this. And first, I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you for being there in the world, caring for babies the way you do. I also just want to shout out to any moms that either have self-judgment or have received judgment from others about their choice to send a baby into a group care setting. I am just going to say, let's stop all that. Just stop making it bad or wrong that we invite other caring humans into our world to support us. It's what is necessary. It's called having a village. And I want to celebrate the opportunities that we might have to create a deeper, stronger, bigger village to help care for babies. And also for moms or parents or grandparents that are caring for babies. If you are the parent, of course, you get to be first in line for caring for this baby. And if you're not the parent, you are a very important, integral part of caring for the baby because humans are social creatures. We're meant to be in community, we're meant to be in togetherness. And so if you are a person who's not the parent but is a caregiver, then I'm celebrating you as well. You are very important. And also for moms that don't have a really big village, maybe this is an opportunity to check and just see where there might be opportunities to have other loving adults step in every once in a while because your baby is going to benefit from learning somebody else's facial expressions, hearing somebody else's voice, being touched by somebody else's hands. That gets to expand their trust in adults and loving relationships. So, just an invitation there, and also celebrating everybody that is stepping in to be part of the village. Um, so I have mentioned already that babies, and sorry, let me give you my definition of babies. I mean, besides being adorable, sweet, cute, like scrumptious little cherubs of ooey gooey yumminess, that's my like non-technical definition. I consider babies to be humans up to 36 months. Like, let's still let our 2-year-olds and 2.5-year-olds be babies because even if they're walking and talking, they developmentally still need the things that babies, infants, tiny little humans under 6 months old need. I don't want us to get too far ahead of ourselves in excitement and assumption about who this child is. Up to 36 months old, let's keep them in the zone of babies. Um, and so when I talk about babies, 0 to 36 months, that's where I'm talking. Um, so I already mentioned that they're very vulnerable and they're very dependent. And human babies have the longest period of being dependent on their parents. And there is actually a term for this. It's called the obstetrical dilemma. And this is a phrase coined by an anthropologist, Sherwood Washburn, back in 1960. And all this means is that as a human, we walk upright on 2 feet. And in order for that to happen, we have to have a narrow pelvis. And we are like the most cognitively evolved animals. And so we have big, gigantic brains compared to the rest of the animals in the animal kingdom. And so this combination of narrow hips and big brain means that our babies are born very, 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 very early in their developmental process. In fact, when a baby is born, only about 25% of what will become their full adult brain is there at birth compared to like 50% of the adult brain in other primates. Anyway, so it's a real thing. And I also want to offer this phrase that I heard recently from Dr. Gabor Mate. Um, our human babies need to continue their gestation outside the womb. So, of course, when a baby's inside the belly, it's growing, it's developing, getting all the pieces and parts in working order to enter the world and still survive. And Mother Nature is assuming that this baby's gestation will continue even outside the womb. So when I heard him phrase it that way, I was like, oh, yeah, like that's why the baby wearing and the pouches and the slings and the kangaroo care and the skin to skin and all of that matters so much. That is the baby's gestation continuing outside the womb. Um, so that's just a developmental piece about the human like physiology. And then there's this biological drive for a baby to stay very closely connected with their parent. This is not just for physical growth, because they need food, they need nourishment, they need support and comfort for rest, but it's also for relational development. Like I said, humans are social creatures. Social means joining together in interaction in relationship. And so babies have a biological drive that says, hey, stick close to this caregiver to get your core needs met. Also, you're social. You got to learn how to be social. So stick close with this person. You're going to learn everything you need. And what happens is if that connection is suboptimal, the baby doesn't just like flounder and die instantaneously. The baby adapts and the baby learns ways to deal with and to compensate for any suboptimal conditions. And we might call these maladaptations, where the baby will learn either behaviors or it will learn systematically how to organize its way of being in the world to stay alive even in suboptimal conditions. Of course, with optimal conditions, then the baby is going to have everything growing and sync and promoting like full potential to thrive at all stages in their life. And they'll have resilience to be able to encounter hardship and bounce back and keep going. Um, the hard thing is with a baby that might be in a suboptimal environment, what they're learning and how their system is arranging itself so that it can survive, even later in life, if conditions improve, those patterns are there already as the baseline, as the standard. And so, what that means is, as an adult, their system and their behaviors might be in those maladaptive patterns, and they just don't even know it. And so, for on one hand, that sounds like a really bad situation, and it can be. And there is actual hope because patterns can change. It takes awareness and it takes a lot of work, but those patterns can change. But the reason I am talking about this right now is that if you are a parent or caregiver of a baby, you've got nothing but opportunity right here and in front of you. So, the whole reason I'm giving this talk today is so that you have more information and more skills to create that more optimal environment for your baby's growth. And again, there are a lot of reasons and a lot of situations where the optimal environment is not happening. And if you recognize that that's the case for you, I'm sure it's not your fault. And so there's still hope in the future that things can change. And it just depends on that awareness. If you know that right now, let's say you're grieving a loved one and you cannot show up the way I'm going to talk about with your baby for a few months. You acknowledge that that's real for you and know that in the future, then you're going to take steps to get back toward that more optimal environment. So I've been talking a lot so far, and thank you for listening. Hi, everybody that's come in along the way. And I want to just stop, well, first, and like sit back. I'm like in your face. I don't need to be in your face. And just check in with whoever's listening right now. I'm going to drop this into the chat. A big question. And since there were not very many of us signed on together in the beginning, I skipped the softball check-in questions like where are you from? How many kids do you have? We skipped right over all of that. And I'm going into your heart, if you're willing. And here's a reflective question for you. Why is it important for you to learn about supporting your baby's brain development? And if anything does arise for anyone immediately and you'd like to share in the chat or with your voice, I would love to hear it. I'm going to be silent for at least 30 seconds. Oh, thanks, Jillian. Yeah, don't have kids yet, but we're trying, and I'd like to plan ahead. Absolutely. Prevention and being proactive is always such a beautiful position to be in. And this could go in a lot of different directions. For some people, it might be I have a family history of XYZ. And if there's anything I can do to help my child have a different experience, I want to do it. Maybe you heard stories about yourself as a baby and you want to be able to offer something different so that your baby has a different experience or a different story of who they are. Oh, Amy put in the chat to foster a healthy bond and do the best I can for their development. Absolutely. So anyone that's listening could have a lot of different reasons for why this is important. And I think when you can kind of drop in and recognize why this matters to you, that is going to amplify your your embodiment of the skills and the information, and it'll become more reality, not just a good idea in the back of your head. So thank you for sharing. One thing I'm constantly asking myself, like I said, my babies are now 12 and 9 years old, and I'm still asking on a very regular basis, who do I want them to be, or who do I hope they'll become when they are grown up? And I think about things like what kind of relationships they'll have. I want them to have healthy friendships. And if they want romantic partnerships, I want those to be healthy and supportive and, effective professional relationships. I also want, I mentioned resilience earlier. I want them to have that bounce back ability. Like we can't get rid of all the hard things in life. And I want them to be able to work through, get through, and continue on after hard things happen. And for me personally, I also want my kids to grow up to be those people looking out for others and stepping in to help others and offer to help others as well. And I know that they're only going to be able to do that if they feel like they've been taken care of and they feel steady and sturdy in themselves before they go reach out to other people. So those are some of my whys. And even though I'm not changing their diapers anymore, those are still questions that kind of guide me in what I'm noticing about them in our relationship. So, okay, we're going to switch gears a little bit and talk about the actual brain. And part of me loves to go full sciency, technical terms, all the jargon, but mostly I just want to have fun. So, if you're ever like, wait, is that even a thing? It might not be. It's just how I'm talking about it because I want you to be able to remember it. So, I'm going to make a guess that if you've had a baby or been around anyone that's pregnant, you're very familiar with the recommendation to take folic acid. And that recommendation is so that your baby's like neurological foundations can be set in place very effectively. And I was curious about that. I was like, what is the very first like thing that is formed after a baby goes from like two cells to the zygote to something else? Like, what's the first thing that's really there? And it turns out there's like a neural tortilla. There's like a flat sort of grouping of neural cells, and then they start folding up like a taco, like a little brain taco. And then when that fully closes, that's becoming the neural tube, which then becomes the brainstem and the spinal cord. So, like, that's the first thing. And I'm just like, that's so cool. The first part of a baby is a little neural tortilla. And then like from there, that arrangement of cells is what's orchestrating all the other growth and development to become a full tiny human inside your body. Like, also, can I just pause and say I'm still absolutely in awe of the process of like of any biological process, basically. You were a woman that just had your own body. Then you're pregnant, and now you're a woman growing a human inside of you. And it's like it's easier than Legos. You don't have to flip through any instruction booklet. You just gotta like keep taking care of yourself. I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm saying you don't have to sit down with an instruction booklet to make it happen. It's just happening. Anyway, that amazes me. All that aside, the beginning of the baby's formation is that neural tube. And then the last thing to finish developing in a human is the brain, is the prefrontal cortex in the brain. And that wouldn't, we don't say that's like complete until about 25 years old. So even though you've got a baby that's walking and talking, and then you've got a big kid that's reading and riding their bike, and then you've got a bigger kid that's arguing about screen time, you got a bigger kid that's driving a car, their brain is still developing. And so their foundation to grow that brain, it really matters. Um, and I know I had mentioned in the blurb, like babies' brains don't grow automatically. And I want to explain what I mean by that. So if you think about a growing human body, you've got bones in your skeleton and skin and like organs. All of those physical parts of your body are growing automatically. You give proper nutrition, get proper rest, and if things are all in order, all of that growth is going to happen on its own. However, the brain cannot just grow with physical nourishment and rest. It needs relational context. It needs interaction with other humans in order to grow effectively. And we've seen how this can really fall apart. Like in the example, I think it was in the 1940s with orphanages with babies that were fed, and that was it, and those were the failed to thrive babies. They didn't make it because they didn't have any human interaction, and so that was an awful accidental experiment to show that yes, babies do need love, care, attention, responsiveness from another human. Also, the Harvard Center on the Developing Child talks about what this relationship is that helps a baby's cognitive growth. And they use the term serve and return interactions. I'm going to put that in the chat because that's really helpful to remember. Every time I hear that, I can only think of a tennis match, which is funny because I do not play tennis. I do not understand tennis. But if you say serve and return, I'm like, that's tennis, right? And so that is what it is between you and the baby. Either of you can make the serve. Like when baby cries, they are serving up a call for interaction. And so hopefully you return. You go to them, you gaze at them, and you respond with something to their cry. You can also be the one to serve. You can go in and give a little tickle on their tummy. You are serving out a playful interaction and you're waiting for their return. Maybe they laugh, maybe they fart, maybe they stick their tongue out, but there's a back and forth exchange of interactions. And that is the relational context that helps their brain grow. And you guys, this is not rocket science. I know I mentioned Harvard, but it is not rocket science. I do this in the grocery store. I'm that lady that walks up to somebody with their baby in the shopping cart, and I'm first like, hi, I'm not crazy. I just love babies. And then I look at the baby, and if the baby stares at me, it usually does because I'm a pretty nice lady. And I let it stare at me as long as the baby wants to stare. And I keep staring. I'm like, we're playing the staring game. This is my favorite baby game. Yeah. And then I'll like smile and maybe they smile back. And then they usually, after about 30 seconds, they look back at mom. And I'm like, yeah, that was a lot. You got to check with the face that you actually know. Okay, bye. But it's like, it's that simple. It's that simple. And something that simple is exactly what helps a baby's brain grow and develop. Um, I'm checking the time, and I had some other stuff that was more sciency in particular. I'm not going to go super in depth, but I am going to mention the vagus nerve, and it's really interesting. Recently, in the like nervous system and brain development world, there's been a lot of like, oh my gosh, hubbub about polyvagal theory. Like, relax, everybody. It's a theory. It's still being worked on. It's still being developed. So, like, let's like just chill out. Anyway, Stephen Porges developed the polyvagal theory, and he's saying that the vagus nerve, which is your 10th cranial nerve, comes out of your brainstem, and it's huge. It runs down through your neck, past your heart and lungs, down into your organs, even below your diaphragm. It's big. It's a big deal. And his theory is that this vagus nerve, not like Las Vegas party time, but your vagus nerve is it's undisputed that it is the major component of the slow down braking system of your nervous system. Where Stephen Porges starts to expand on that is that it's also the checkpoint for how much safety or threat is around you, and then that's going to impact your body's physiological response. And this vagus nerve with a baby entering the world is also wildly undeveloped. And in order for the vagus nerve to develop, it needs those same interactions. It needs that sense of safety. It needs that sense of, I'm going to have a problem, but somebody's going to come help take care of it. I'm going to cry because my diaper's wet and cold. Somebody's going to come hold me and change it and make me feel better. I'm going to cry because there's this thing in my tummy and it hurts. I don't know what it's called. By the way, it's hunger, but I'm just going to cry and someone's going to put something in my mouth and then my tummy feels better. Um, so all of that is what helps the vagus nerve strengthen. There are hard things in the world, but people come take care of me. Um, and I want to present that this is my idea coming up. I don't claim to have any original ideas, but I haven't heard this anywhere else. I talked about gestation outside the womb. We know that during gestation inside the womb, there's the umbilical cord. That is how the fetus is getting nutrients from mom into its own body for growing. Of course, when the baby is born, that umbilical cord falls away because now they have their whole digestive system ready to take in food and process it. When we think about interactions and caring for babies, I want you to think of an energetic, invisible umbilical cord. Your baby still depends on you outside of the womb. Your baby is still really busy growing and developing and making sense of the world outside the womb, even though they're not physically, literally connected to your body through the umbilical cord. They are very much relationally and energetically connected. So you still have this invisible umbilical cord. I'm going to put that in the chat too. And, side note, one of my favorite things these days is trying to find the just right emoji for something. You can tell me how I did with this one. It's like the intertwining thread for the energetic umbilical cord. I'm like, is that the best match? I don't know, but I'm going with it for today. Um, and you know what? I debated back and forth. Do I want to do this? Do I not want to do this? I'm like, I want to be a sciencey person because I am, but also I've learned to be a little bit woo-woo, so I am. And so for people that are okay stepping aside from hard science for a moment and stepping into something more ephemeral, maybe even more spiritual, I've got something for you right here, right now. This is just a brief little, let's say, 4 to 5 minute visualization around the idea of this energetic umbilical cord. And I'm just going to say, like, I could use this even with my kids that are 12 and 9, because that sort of energetic connection really never goes away. It shifts and it changes, and it may not be as thick and as strong and as necessary now for my kids as it is for babies, but it's still there. It's always there. So if you are down to play around with this, I'll invite you to come to a kind of a settled place, and if possible, and thank goodness this is recorded, so you can always come back to this about 35-minute mark, um, and close your eyes and let your body just settle down. And wherever you are with your eyes closed, bring your attention to your feet. And just notice what your feet can feel. If it's the ground underneath you, if it's your shoes or your socks or whatever material is underneath you, notice your feet. And then let your attention travel upward to your lungs. And notice your lungs expanding as you inhale and softening as you exhale. We'll stay here paying attention to your breath. Another inhale. Another exhale. Maybe you notice the air passing through your nose. One more inhale and a soft exhale. And from here, imagine inside your body a tiny little ball of light. As you keep breathing, you notice that ball of light is flickering, it's alive. And each time you breathe, that light gets a little bit bigger. It spreads throughout the inside of your body. And as you're paying attention to this light, you can feel how warm it is, how comforting it is. And as you keep breathing, this light expands to include your whole body. And this light expands out beyond your body. And this light is so strong, it can send light out to the world. And you notice a stream of light moving out to the world and landing so gently, so lovingly on your baby. And your baby receives that light. They smile and they wiggle and squirm because it feels so good. And that light is also touching their light. And now here you are, two beautiful, warm, brilliant, radiant lights connected together, feeling that shared warmth, feeling how each of you is different and yet feeling so good being together. And as you breathe, your light stays steady and strong. And you notice the light in your baby also steady and strong. A few more breaths here, just really basking in this connected light of energy and vitality. And then with a deeper breath, bring your attention to your hands and bring your hands in connection to your body, maybe on your belly or your chest or your thighs. And as you come back to your body, you can still see the light glowing in your baby. And you still feel the light glowing inside of you. And you know that light is always there. And you can send yours out at any time. And for now, you're coming back to yourself, back to being in your own body. One more deeper breath in and out. And then you can come back to the space that's around you and let your eyes open up again. If you've never done any kind of visualization before, that might have been the weirdest thing ever. And if you have done any sort of visualization or sort of guided meditation before, maybe that was enjoyable or illuminating somehow. Always, it's just an invitation to try it out. But I love that visualization because for me, it represents it's the blend of each person being their own person, but you as the parent or caregiver having that pathway to be deeply, deeply connected. When you can offer it, they can receive it, and that it's feeling good for both of you. So that's kind of the feeling that we're going for with that energetic umbilical cord. Jillian says it was relaxing. Yay, I'm glad. And like side note on that relaxed feeling, what's happening in your body right now is that if there was cortisol or adrenaline pumping through, now that has gone down and you've got more oxytocin and dopamine and serotonin flowing, which is exactly what your baby wants to pick up on and bring into their world as well, especially if you're wanting to nurse or to feed, especially if you're wanting their digestion to work well and have beautiful little easy poops on a regular basis. Like, your physiology and your body is reaching out and impacting your baby's physiology as well. So, maybe that visualization is something that you can revisit, especially in those times when relaxation is going to help everybody before feeding, before sleeping, after something really big and you want to work toward calm and relaxation. Oh my gosh, I was just thinking of all the doctor visits and the shots and the checkups and the manipulation and all the things that babies don't like. So after those moments, this might help you reconnect to yourself and offer that connection to your child as well. Um, so I'll touch on, I mentioned, maybe there are some like potential mistakes, some things that we just do without thinking, and we don't realize that it might be getting in the way of our baby's optimal development. And when I say mistakes, I'm the first to admit I've done all of these. And sometimes I did them without knowing, and then sometimes I'm just like, F it, I'm doing this anyway. I can't do any better. So know that I am not sharing this because I'm some like special person that's never done these. Like I've done all of these. And if I could turn back the clock, I would do these a lot less. But it is what it is. So notice times when you're in a diaper change and you really drop into massive amounts of disgust or anger, which is natural. It's like they just exploded all over the changing table and me, and I got to make sure it didn't get in the dog hair because now they're going to roll around it and spread it. Like, that's disgusting. You want me to not be disgusted? I'm not saying that you don't get to be disgusted. I'm saying that don't to try not to let disgust be pointed at your child and to not let disgust be the only thing that you're showing in that moment. Because when you scrunch up your face, even if I scrunch up my face and I say something amazing like, oh, we just saw Toy Story 5 and it was great, but my face looks like this, you're like, ooh, I don't want to watch Toy Story 5. Like the face says more than the words. So, um, if you can like hold the disgust that's sitting in the back of your nose, but somehow change your face to like at least surprise, that's less alarming because when your baby is seeing your face in disgust and you're looking at them and touching them, your baby is starting to internalize, I'm disgusting. Like my body is the thing here, my body is the center of attention, and that face says disgust. Oh, yeah, it's me. I'm disgusting. And it's very subconscious. It's not a direct line to, I was disgusted at every diaper change and now my 12-year-old hates her body. It's not a direct line like that, but it's a slow drip of, this doesn't feel good to me and I don't feel good in this, and so I'm going to try to not be here. And it's this long slow road to, I don't want to feel my own body. I don't want to be in my own body. I don't know what's happening in my body. It's a slow disconnection. And then if that disconnection is happening for a long time, then that leads to other difficulties down the road. And so similar, like if you're showing disgust at every diaper change and your baby is like seeing that this moment is always a disgusting moment, that's when they might like start to internalize, like, I'm bad, I'm wrong, I'm gross, I'm unlovable. And of course, like you're counteracting that with all the other amazing, beautiful interactions. But like I said, when they're laying on their back and their whole belly and genitals and everything is exposed, they're entirely vulnerable, which makes that interaction more impactful. And so it's just something to pay attention to. Another emotion that can come up during a diaper change is anger. I mean, once those babies realize they have hands that can grab things, I can't pretend that I wasn't angry when I forgot to pull my hair back and my hair got wrapped into baby fingers and yanked and pulled and twisted around and also smeared in poop. Like, that makes me mad. And so, like, yes, you get to be angry about whatever might be happening. Or like the squirmy baby. It's like, I'm here to keep you safe and clean, and you are throwing your limbs all over the place. Like, how am I supposed to do this? Like, that makes me mad. And we don't want anger to be the only thing we're showing. We don't want our anger to be pointed at the baby, like, because then they're starting to internalize, like, I'm too much. Nobody can handle me. I'm dangerous. I'm untrustworthy. And again, these are all very subconscious and they might play out in different ways over time, but these are the messages that we don't want to inadvertently convey to our baby. So you can be really angry that they just grabbed a fistful of hair, and then as soon, like, acknowledge that, ouch, you pulled my hair. I don't like it. Oh my God, baby, why'd you do that? And then as soon as possible, turn it to something else. Oh my gosh, you just don't even know how strong you are. Or, oh my gosh, I will remember to pull back my hair no matter how dirty your diaper is. Like, turn it into something else as soon as you catch one of those big emotions coming up. Um, and I mean, when there's poop, it's like all bets are off. Like, poop is gross. Poop is harmful, like when not well handled. So, like, I realize that too. It's really just about bringing your own awareness to your face and to your tone, and as much as possible, turn it into at least a more positive interaction. So, what does a more positive interaction look like? It can look like appreciation or awe, or celebration or delight. Even surprise is less alarming to a baby than anger or disgust. So I remember I'm like, okay, don't need the whole backstory, but I learned from my doula about like talking to your baby about their body parts. And so I remember like during a diaper change, especially after Nina would kick me really hard. I'm like, wow, your legs are so strong. Look at your big old thighs with those muscles. You can kick mommy right now. Wow. Someday you're going to use those legs for walking. Someday you'll use them for running. Someday you'll use them for biking and swimming. Your legs are so strong. Wow, strong legs. Yeah, 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 yeah. And like when she was 6 months old, did she know what the heck I was talking about? No. But was I touching her and like excited about this and showing her this is a good thing? Like, whatever this is, yeah, just a whole lot of yeah. Like, while I'm touching her legs, and then same with her arms and, whatever. Um, so that's one opportunity. And like celebration of this baby being an amazing person here alive on earth. Like, even just like the little kisses on the belly, like nom, 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 I just love you so much, or like all of the little glimmers. This is the one big takeaway I want to offer: the glimmers where they see you lighting up because you are with them. Never mind the stinky diaper, never mind the cold wipes that they're screaming about, never mind like whatever else is happening, especially if you have a baby and a toddler running around. Oh my gosh. Yeah. If you feel insane, that makes sense because that's really hard. Like, never mind all of that. But if you can signal to your baby, you light up my world. I shine when I'm with you, and I want you to shine when you're with me. That is going to go a really long way. Whatever that looks like and sounds like for you and this baby, because it can be different with all the babies, and it can be different with all the caregivers. As long as those little glimmers are popping up every now and then, you are going to be really on the right track. And I'm going to put this in the chat because if there's one word for one thing that I hope that you might remember today, it's this: some glimmers. And the way you can really use this strategically is if you are running on empty because you have not slept in 2 days because you've got mastitis or the baby is teething or the in-laws are visiting and they just insist on staying up late to watch Seinfeld reruns, like whatever it is, and you are just spent, um, you can tell somebody else, I have no glimmers left. I'm all out of glimmers. Can somebody else please step in and offer the glimmers? Like just the next diaper change has got to be somebody else who's got the glimmers. And like let the glimmers and like let your glimmer gauge help not carry it all for yourself. Like if you are running low, try to recruit some other help. And if you're running low and there's still not much help, then you just say, hey, baby, I don't have the glimmers today. It really stinks. I know your diaper stinks. The no glimmers stinks. It's just kind of a stinky poo-poo day today. Hopefully, it'll be better tomorrow. And even just naming that for yourself is going to help you not stay stuck longer in whatever is really hard. Um, and also, I'm thinking about the teaching teams that took care of Andrew. Oh my gosh, like I wish that every baby could have three, four, five, six caring adults paying attention to them for 8, 10, 12 hours a day. But same thing, like every caregiver can't be on all the time. And so if you notice you are tapped out, no more glimmers left, and you got to like go take your break for 30 minutes, let somebody know. Like, let that be a code word. I need more glimmers. Who's got the glimmers? Come on in. And just let that be a quick check-in, so that the person who is most resourced is the person that's able to take care of the baby in that moment. Just as an opportunity. And when the opportunity is not there, your baby's life is not built on just one singular moment. It's the collection. So one singular moment is not going to ruin anything for anyone, especially with this next piece that I'm going to share. And this is the last thing. Um, thank goodness Mother Nature um, includes imperfection in the plan. All right. That goes for everything. And it definitely goes for humans too. And it definitely goes for parents raising babies and children. Edward Tronick has research that shows pretty much the majority of parenting interactions are not really matched up. Like they missed the mark somehow, the majority of the time. And so, if you're missing the mark and you're not fully attuned and nurturing and responsive and exactly the way that your child is needing it, that's okay. In fact, it's better than okay because then your child learns I get to be imperfect and I get to mess things up. And that doesn't mean I've lost. That doesn't mean I'm abandoned. That doesn't mean I'm rejected. That just means I'm another human and it's going to be messy. And I know what to do because my parents showed me what to do, which is name whatever happened and then offer a repair, which for a baby can just be as simple as, oh, you did not like that. I did not figure that out. Oh man, I'm so sorry I missed it. That's a repair with the baby. You just named, like, you're crying so hard because it took me so long to figure this out. Oh, that was really hard. And I'm sorry. I'm going to try and do better. Um, and that is the process done again and again and again and again that helps restore the relationship. Your baby doesn't need you to nail it every time because you can't. Your baby needs you to know the difference between really responding effectively and not, and saying, "Yeah, I didn't do it that time. I'm going to keep trying. Oh, baby, you're a tough nut to crack, but I'm going to keep trying and I'm going to keep doing my best and I'm going to keep seeing what else is possible so that I can meet you where you are." Um, and that combination of revisiting the situation, here's what happened, plus a repair, I know that didn't work well and I'm trying, is is the recipe for a relationship all the way until one of you has left the earth. Like I think about my own mom, she's going to be 75, I'm 45. If we have like a thing. It'd be great if she offered repair. That would be meaningful. So there's no expiration date on this process. And you might as well practice it on the baby because what are they going to do? They're not going to like roll their eyes and call you bruh yet. So go ahead and try it out. They are a very captive audience and they are really flexible in that way. Like they're not going to give you much pushback. Like they might keep crying, but if they've already been crying, is that any different? So you might as well just give it a try. Um, and really the most important piece is I will keep trying. It's not even about the apology. It's not even about what already happened. It's the piece of, hey, I'm going to keep trying. That is what babies are looking for. Keep coming back to me. Don't give up on me. Keep showing what else is possible. Please, please, please. And that is what matters in the long run. So, here we are at the top of the hour, and I'm going to put this in the email that goes out with the recording. But if people that are here right now can spare 2 minutes, I do have an exit survey because speaking of imperfection, I know there are always things that I could do just a little bit better. But I also like to know what I should keep. So, in the exit survey, it's just a few like rating questions and like what actually landed for you today. So I will stay on for 2 minutes if anyone can pull that up and do that right now. And inside the exit survey, there are also questions. Hey, do you want to keep hearing from me? You can join my weekly newsletter. Also, thank you for being here, for watching, for participating. And so there's a little 3-minute vagal toning practice as a thank you, something that might be really fun to do during your next diaper change. So, before we sign, okay, I'm like, wait, Alan, what do you want to do? If you want them to fill out the survey, stop talking. That's what I'm going to do right now. I will stop talking. And if you are able to open it up and you do it, just put a thumbs up in the chat or show me a thumbs up. I'm not signing off yet. Awesome. All right. And I don't want to sign off without checking in. What did land, or what are you able to take away from this workshop today that might help you at the very next diaper change, if anything, or lingering questions? And Jillian, I'm just going to be super nosy and curious. Do you get to have opportunities to change any diapers yet? Yeah, I'm trying to think. Yes, I was already changing a lot of diapers before I had my own kids because I was in toddler classrooms. And I really underestimated how different it might be when it's your own kid. Um, it's just a thing, but that's okay. Yeah, oh, that's all right. I, in classrooms, I really felt like it was an honor and a privilege to be in this child's world changing their diaper because that's a lot of trust. Um, and it was just icing on the cake if we had fun while doing it. But not every kid was down with Miss Allen changing their diaper, and that's okay. All right. Well, thank you for everyone that's here live today, and thank you for everyone that might be watching the recording later. When I send out the email, I'll try to put in some highlights so that you can just jump to the section that's most interesting to you. And I'll put like a little, oh, I'm not going to make promises I might not keep. I'll put those highlights for sure. You can count on that. All right. Oh, and we have someone that may have had a time zone mix up. I was that person last week. But anyway, yeah, any closing thoughts before I sign off? Oh, all right. Thanks, everyone. Hi there. We are just wrapping up our workshop, but in the next couple of hours, you'll see an email with the replay and all the information there. But
Thank
thanks
you.
for signing on to say
Hi,
hi.
Nicole. I
Thank
know,
you.
Soul. Such a small world. Hi.
Wait. Oh my gosh. That's
We
Yeah.
were
amazing.
together yesterday at
Yeah,
a
in
at an
person.
event. Yeah, in real life.
Oh, even better. That's fantastic. Well,
Yeah, I can't wait to watch the replay.
yeah. Well, now that you've said you're going to watch it, I'm really going to look for an email
Oh,
for you to write
oh,
back and tell me
absolutely.
what you
I
thought.
have a 1-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 7-year-old, and I when I read the title, I told myself I have, I'm sure I can learn something. My days of diaper changing are winding down. I may have another year. And so I definitely want to unlearn some things and learn some new ones. So I am committed to hearing your
Yay.
talk.
Well, Sol, I'm so glad you mentioned that because in the back of my brain, I was also thinking these concepts and skills also contribute to that toilet learning process. Like for a
I love that.
baby that feels more comfortable, more secure, more confident, and capable through all of
Mm.
their diaper change interactions, may possibly have an easier transition to letting it all go in a different way.
That's
Because
so good.
like honestly, like that's the psychology of the baby not using diapers anymore. You're asking them to let go of something that's the only thing they've ever known. That's scary. And then it goes into this big hole and makes noise and like that's scary. So whatever you can do to just kind of build up their inner confidence before going into that transition, it could only possibly help. So, yeah.
I'm listening.
That's my theory, and that's what I've seen in classrooms. So, yeah, exciting times.
Thank you for
Well,
the
yeah,
invitation.
thank you, everybody, and I will see you around in the email world. Take care. Bye for
Thank you,
now.
Alex.